Hey everyone, welcome back to this series of videos where I deconstruct Charlie Parker's songs. In this case, we're doing Mooche, and this is video number 2. You can check out the first one, it should be somewhere here. So I am basically deconstructing the tune phrase by phrase, explaining how it works and how we can apply it in different contexts. In the previous video, I explained that these songs are basically the best licks or the best ideas these great players came up with, and they decided to have them in a song. So it's very important to check this out and to learn from this. In the previous video, we studied the important notes of the song and we used those notes as target notes to find cool pathways. In this video, I want to present to you a different idea. Here we're going to take the phrases and see how we can use this motif throughout the whole song. Let's check out the phrase. So the first phrase of the song is this. Right, so basically we have this motif, which is kind of like the main motif of the song. Then you have an answer to that. And then we go back to the main motif. But it's kind of like a variation of the motif. So we have this motif implicit in the composition, which is this. And then, right, so we're gonna take that motif and we're gonna use it throughout the whole song, right? So it's kind of like this little melody, right? That little idea of surrounding that note and targeting that note. So we can take that and we can create a solo out of that. We can just take the little motif and then develop it throughout the whole tune, the whole song. So I'm gonna do that over the A section as an example. And this is a great way of practicing your flexibility with the language and being very creative with these little ideas. Check out how that sounds. Fill the gaps. Or play with the rhythm. Okay, then the next question would be like, how do you come up with these lines? How do you take this little pattern and then how do you apply it to the changes? This is all about having direction and knowing where to go. Let's analyze what's going on. Let's take the first snippet. So this would be like, right? And it's happening over these chords. Right? So what's going on here? The first note has to work with this chord, right? That's how you pick the first note. So any note that works over this chord will work. Then what's going on here is we're kind of like enclosing this note of the C minor, right? And this is happening over a 5 that resolves over C minor. So basically any melodic line that does that will work. And this is where all of these little patterns that you learn will be super helpful. So all of these melodic movements are landing on the notes of the C minor arpeggio. Right, so if I want to target this note, I do this. If I want to target this note, I will use this. If I want to target this note, I can do this, or I can even do this. Right, if I want to target this note, right, so I'm basically just targeting the important notes of this chord, right? And then the same thing is going to happen when I'm going to land in the next chord, which is a F7, right? So this note is an important note of the F7 chord, and I'm just targeting that using this enclosure, right? But you can do things like this. Any of those would work, because I'm just targeting the notes of the G major arpeggio, basically. And then the cool thing is that this little pattern is rhythmically anticipating every chord. So like, and then we resolve, right? and this one resolves here. So the cool thing about this little pattern is kind of like the rhythm and the syncopation and the anticipation. And that's the genius of Charlie Parker, that he was able to hear these beautiful lines that were outlining the chords very beautifully, but they also had this very cool, interesting rhythm that feels very good. So basically I'm just developing that pattern over all the chord changes. So this little line resolves over the C minor, and then this line resolves over the F7. Then again, this little line resolves over the C minor, right? And then this line resolves over the F7. The next chord in the chord progression would be F minor 7, and this note works over the F minor 7, and then I'm targeting the third of the E flat major, and then the 5 of the B flat 7, and then I just go back to the second pattern I played, but an octave lower, basically targeting this note of the C minor, and then this note of the F7. So this is how the pattern that I showed you works, but you can do many other things. So let me give you another example of something that you could also play. And then fill the gaps. Play with the rhythm. As you can notice when I say let's fill the gaps, so I have this pattern that is the main pattern, and then once you understand the target notes of that pattern, you can fill the gaps with lines that will target the important notes of that specific pattern. So if you want to understand more about target notes, you can watch my previous video, or you can watch my masterclass where I explain this in a lot of detail. And also when I say, okay, let's change the rhythms, what I mean is once you know the important elements of this line, once you understand how you're targeting the important notes of each chord, you can just change the rhythms and do the same thing using different rhythms. It's the same idea of saying the same thing in different ways. You can target the same notes using the same surrounding notes, but just with a slightly different rhythm, and you can create a lot of variation just by doing that. Okay, this is one last example. I'm gonna be doing this over the B section, and I'm gonna be using only Mixolydian scales. Check it out how that sounds. So I basically learned this exercise from Gilad Hexelman. There is a very cool YouTube video of him showing this in a masterclass, and he's a master at this. These are little approaches that you can take, and then you should become fluent using these approaches. And this is what will allow you to say more things. This has been very, very useful to develop flexibility in my playing, because this limitation fosters creativity, and it's like a little game that's super fun to play. Thank you for watching. So as you can see, every video is kind of like showing you a different approach. So the first video was all about the target notes. Second video, it's about taking the patterns and applying the patterns to the song. And then on the next video, I'm going to explain how to use the language that you find in the tune and apply it into different situations. Hope you are liking the series. Leave a like and a comment. Also, if you like the channel, just subscribe, and I will see you soon.